But right now, let's return to the market bloodbath sparked by Trump's trade tariffs. As I just told you, up to $100 billion has been wiped off the ASX. The Asian markets hit as well. Former Treasury Assistant Secretary David Pearl joins me for his view. David, thank you so much for your time again on the show. The big question is whether the stock markets will settle, whether this is just the predictable volatility that Trump warned about, or whether this could escalate into a global recession. What's your view?
My view, Shari, and thanks for having me on, is that nobody knows. There are so many uncertainties at the moment. One scenario is that Trump backtracks very quickly. I'm not sure that's going to happen, but that would probably be the benign one. Another scenario is for China and other major economies to start to negotiate quickly with the US. I think that would not be ideal for markets, but it would be a midway. And then the third scenario, which you can't discount, Shari, is for trade tensions to escalate, for China and others to stick to their retaliation, and for markets, both financial markets and equity markets generally, to be far more affected than they have already. So nobody knows, Shari. We're in a situation of deep uncertainty.
For us in Australia, I mean, we've also seen already an impact on our currency down to 60 cents. Some are estimating that this could fall even to 50 cents. Do you think that's possible?
It is possible. You might recall, and your viewers might recall, that when the Asian financial crisis hit in 1998, from memory, that had a major negative effect on commodity prices and Australian exports. And the big depreciation of our currency, our freely floating currency then, really provided a cushion for our commodity exporters and for the economy and helped us get through. So it's not a bad thing that the economy, that the exchange rate is adjusting like it is. In fact, it should be the first line of defence for this uncertainty and market turbulence rather than any panicked response from the RBA, which I interpreted Jim Chalmers today encouraging.
I mean, I feel almost it's hard to ask you about predictions because, as you started off by saying, we just don't know how international markets and how other countries are going to react, whether they will retaliate or not. But, you know, at this point in time, at least, if there is a deepening problem, you know, the Treasurer today spoke about up to 4 interest rate cuts. So, you know, do you think that he was being overly alarmist, or is this a realistic proposition that things could get so bad we're looking at 4 rate cuts this year?
I think the Treasurer is being a market commentator, which seems to be the role he likes. I think it's appalling practice for a Treasurer to basically blithely refer to financial markets' panicked prediction that we're going to have 50 basis points off the cash rate in May and maybe 1% off the cash rate by the end of the year. We don't know that. Let's go back to Powell, the US Fed chairman. He gave a very important speech on Friday, Shari, where he refused to offer Fed support to rescue Wall Street, as he should have. And he said that the Fed had time to wait for incoming data on inflation and activity. And he referred to the heightened risks of inflation and inflationary expectations. So by no means was he for stalling a willingness to come in, but he didn't want to overreact and react before the data. And I think that the RBA board should adopt Jerome Powell's playbook there. Now, if later in the year the data starts to indicate that economic activity is slowing or price pressures are rising, then it might be appropriate for the board to act. But I don't think, or at least it's my opinion, that the board should not be taking a lead from financial market players who are frankly panicking. I understand why they are, but they shouldn't be the guide for monetary policy now.
No, indeed. Sage advice. Thank you very much for your time. As always, David Pearl, thank you so much. All right, so the message there, no need to panic at this point in time. Let's wait and see. All right.